Hey beautiful people, how's it going? And welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about my Vaal Flicker Scion, which I've been playing as my second build throughout 3.2. Now I came up with this build last week, but I really enjoyed it. It's quite cheap for a Flicker. Not super cheap because it is still Flicker Strike, but it is able to do most endgame content like bossing. It's a really good mapper because it's Flicker Strike, and it can do the Sanctum really easily because a lot of the mobs just die very, very quickly, meaning that you don't really take much damage on your resolve. Anyway, so yeah, overall it's a nice build. I've played it for over a week. Which is quite long for me on a build. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and I'm going to share it with you guys how you can make it and hopefully enjoy it as well. So yeah, I'll see you in a sec. Okay guys, so very quickly, just the cost breakdown. The number one question, how much does your build cost? So this is essentially the cost for my build at its peak, which is, you know, I can't really upgrade it anymore. It's about 33 million boss DPS like this. With totems and berserk up and whatnot. Yeah, it's relatively cheap, to be honest, for a Flicker Strike build. The Flicker Strike builds to be able to do decent content usually cost over like 150 divines, you know, excluding Soul First, which is just primarily made for mapping. But this can do bossing and Sanctum very, very easily as well. Now, the content it struggles with will be Simulacrons and Uber bossing. You can do Uber bosses if you swap in like Frostblades or something like that, but it's not the easiest thing to do in the world, so I don't want to say like, oh, this is a super good Uber bosser. It can do them if you are skilled. If you're not skilled enough, then you won't be able to do them. I'll just say that. So, yeah, mostly about 71 divines. There are some things you can replace, such as rings. You know, strength stacking rings right now, you only need one of them. You could use two if you really wanted to. Are 15 divines each. I bought mine at 6 when they were really cheap, so it's a little bit different, so I updated this. But you could just swap them for Iolite rings if you really wanted to, and those will cost you about 20C. So yeah, there are some adjustments you can make. It is a strength stacker, so Replica Alberons, Paradox Cut, and Farrell's Fur will be mandatory, as well as Crown of Eyes. But yeah, I'll go over the gear in a second. That's just a relative rough estimation to how much it will cost to get it to the state that my build is at. Yeah, right about now. Okay guys, so we're going to go over a gear overview. So the staple items first, starting with Replica Alberons, which is the core boot, because it adds 1 to 80 chaos damage to attacks per 80 strength. And it gives you 18% increased strength. So these boots are irreplaceable. The build just doesn't function without them at all. So yeah, you have to get these. And they are about between 12 to 14 divines at the time of recording. You don't necessarily need this enchant. You can go with whatever you want, to be honest. Attack speed, mapping is pretty good. Next up, Paradox Cut. So Paradox Cut, best in slot weapon Flicker. Attacks with this weapon deal double damage, makes it extremely powerful. You also get Chaos Pen on these. And the suffix you want will be a Dex and Int, as well as increased attack speed. You will need Dex and Int, most likely, because we are using Crown of Eyes. So this is going to be your best in slot weapon. And these are about 10 divines right now, but they might go up, I don't know. Enchant you want to get is increased attack speed per 8% quality. And mine's not 30% quality, but you could 30 quality it for a little bit more attack speed as well. Next up, we have Crown of Eyes, which is our staple as well, because increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks at 150% of their value. So this is huge for us. If you don't know, I mean, this has been explained a lot of times because strength stacking has been around for quite a few leagues now. But Iron Will's strength damage bonus applies to all spell damage as well. So you get that. You're getting giga strength, and then Crown of Eyes is buffing it at 150% of its value. So yeah, a lot of damage there. Your best in slot enchants are going to be increased Flicker Strike damage per Frenzy Charge, or alternatively, Berserk Buff Effect, which is also very, very good. So yeah, those are the staple items that you need, as well as Farrell's Fur I should actually talk about for Aspect of the Cat for Frenzy generation. Since Scions don't really have a great way of generating Frenzy charges, if you don't have Aspect of the Cat, you are likely to run out of charges when you get to flickering, and it just makes the whole thing really awkward. So Farrell's Fur is a staple. If you could do it without this, it would be great, and you could use Iron Fortress, but unfortunately not very likely with Flicker Strike without it feeling absolutely terrible. Yeah, okay, those are the core items down. Next up on our items, let's go for the Amulet. So an Amulet is just going to be increased strength %. So these are about 1 divine as well for the base. I level, as long as it's like 77, I believe it's fine. Mine's 79. I have these rolls. You just roll them with Essence of Rage to craft them until you get suffixes that you're happy with, or prefixes as well. Increased spell damage is obviously really good. Global crit strike chance is great. Resistances, all attributes would also be good. Crit multi is very good. Yeah, you know, just generic stuff. It's not really hard to craft. Just spam it a few times with Essence of Rage and you'll get something good within like 20 most likely. And then you want to make sure you just have an open prefix for non-channeling skills. Have minus mana to total mana cost, because Flicker is a very mana intensive skill and we don't have much mana unreserved. Next up after this, we'll go on the other ring. Another increased strength ring, so this is why they're a little bit expensive. 7% increased strength with the attribute Catalyst, 62 strength, which you, again, are just going to roll with Essence of Rage. Yeah, Essence of Rage, again, same stuff, just get suffixes that you need, whether it be rares or all attributes or, you know, anything else, whatever your build might want. And try and get a decent life roll as well. Again, it won't take you too long to make one of these either. And just make sure you, again, have an open prefix. But non-challenge skills have minus mana cost. Now, my other ring is a Despair ring that I got very early. So I'm using this. So curse enemies with Despair on hit, no longer penalized on pinnacle bosses. So minus 15 chaos rest is very good. And this just has tier 1 strength as well as good fire resistance and tier 1 life. So this is a very nice ring. But because I have this, I have to anoint Whispers of Doom because I'm also using Assassin's Mark in the build. So if you don't want to find a ring or you can't find a ring that's as good as this, you can technically get another synthesized strength ring or an eye light ring or whatever. And instead of anointing Whispers of Doom, you could anoint Heart of Darkness, and it will be slightly less DPS according to my POV. But it will also be probably a lot cheaper, especially if you go with that eye light ring option. So just bear that in mind. Those are the rings that I'm using and the amulet. Next up, we'll go for the bout as well. Again, another increased strength item. You know, this is basically all the build is, just giga strength stacking. 1 divine for this, or 1 or 2 divines for this. And the same crafting method of just spamming Essence of Rage until you get whatever stats you need, which is probably just going to be res on your belt, let's face it. So yeah, those are the strength stacking jewelry. Next up, we have a shield, and wow, would you look at that? It's increased strength, who would have thought? So yeah, you get an increased strength shield as well. Evasion base, you can roll suppression as we are suppress capped with this build. Same crafting method, you just spam Essence of Rage until you have a decent suppression roll. Hopefully you have an open suffix. You need an open suffix, so if you hit a good suppression and you don't have an open suffix, you will have to annul off the other suffix, so you can craft Aspect of the Cat on your shield. And then your prefixes, just make sure you have 1 open for +2 level of socketed support gems, which I'll go over when I talk about the gems. So the reason you want the Aspect of the Cat in the shield is because you want to put less duration with it, and less duration will make it swap over a lot more, so your frenzies and your power charges refresh duration very, very quickly, meaning you will very rarely ever run out of frenzy charges, and you'll basically be able to flick it infinitely. Yep, that's the shield. And the gloves, you want to pick up an evasion base of any kind with fractured strength. And then with the fractured strength on here, you can just roll these with Essence of Zeal, which give you 18% attack speed if you get the max roll. And you're going to do that again until you get suppression. And then you can craft the prefixes using Eldritch Currency until you have a life roll that you're happy with. And then finally, you're going to craft on damage whilst leeching for giga damage increase as well. That's just a rough general gear overview. Most of this is stuck in stone. There's not too much you can actually change because it is strength stacking, except for the Iolite ring bases if you are super, super poor. But yeah, that's basically it. Class-wise, we're using Vessel of Vinctor, which is really good for shocks, for chaos, big damage increase. We are all element immune because we do run Purity of Elements in the build. So yeah, this is just pure damage for us. As well as Bottled Faith, and then the other one I have is a Diamond Flask, a Quicksilver, and a Live Flask. And, you know, you can replace these how you see fit, but the Bottled Faith and the Vessel of Vinctor are huge damage increases for a single target in particular. So yeah, let's move on to the passive tree, and I'll go over that in a sec. Okay, so talking about the passive tree, it is super crangled. If you want to level this build, you will have to level as Hollow Palm Smite and do 5 ways until around level 90 in order to actually have a playable build. Because this is what your tree looks like. It's absolutely crangled, of course, because we are going to be using split personalities. We're going to be using int and strength one. Reason for this is you need a lot of int to wear Crown of Eyes, so this is really, really good. If you don't need the int, then you could use a strength max life one or a strength dex one. I'm using strength dex over here. Again, dex is needed to where the paradoxica, and also we do use Mage Bane, so we do get suppression based on our dexterity. So this is sort of like a double whammy. It's quite nice to have. Yeah, for the most part, I can't really talk about leveling this up because yeah, you can't level like this. So basically, when you get to around 90, this is the sort of tree layer that you want to have. POV will obviously be in the description that you can just follow. Iron Will's obviously a staple. Down here now, you can get Tribal Fury, so melee strike skills deal splash damage to surrounded targets. So this is very, very nice that this has been added in 3.2. Because this makes Flicker just super, super nice for mapping now. You get, like, some strike skills and, yeah, you just absolutely obliterate everything. So it's really nice. I'm really happy with that update. But when it comes to the jewels, you're going to need 2 inertia with 24 strength, and you sucker them in these ones over here, so you can transform dex into strength. And these are like 2C now, which is great. They're way cheaper. 1 intuitive leap, which is, you know, a little bit more pricey over here, so you can get a +1 frenzy, some multi and some life, and res if you really need it. Down here, a lethal pride, preferably with 15% strength, crit multi, or crit chance. You might need some resistance on one if you can, but those are the optimal ones. Mine has 20% melee damage, 15% strength, and +20 strength, so it's a pretty big damage increase over here. And yeah, aside from that, we're using Slayer, Forbidden Flame, and Flesh, which again are about 30C each, so very, very cheap. A Watcher's Eye with Purity of Elements, Chaos Res, and Determination, reduce damage from crits. Basically, the only important stat on this will be the Chaos Resistance, while affected by Purity of Elements, to make you a little bit more tankier. A Corrupted Blood Jewel with Fire Res, and 1 multi and Strength and Int, because I just liked a bit of Int. And yeah, I believe that's it in terms of talking about these jewels, yeah. So the tree really is, aside from the strength of dex and the strength and Int, it's not really that expensive, and I think these are only like 20C now as well. So yeah, I bought these for 5 divine, so because they only just came out, so this is quite a lot. But I think these are quite cheap now. I can actually Awaken PoE trade it, can't I? Yeah, I could just do that. Okay, they're 1.1 divine. I was a little bit off with the 2030C. What about this one? Okay, this one's 60-70C, so yeah, that's fine. But not too expensive. Jewel you're going for, plus the jewels you're going for, will be increased attack damage, Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess, which obviously you need to offset some of the accuracy that you're missing, so Martial Prowess is always really good. This one's 2.5 divine right now, and the other one will be a Calamitous, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess. So this one is 1-2 divine-ish. So yeah, not too bad, not too expensive for cluster jewels, honestly. Pretty good. And yeah, moving on, we're going to go for our Ascendancy. Let me just zoom in right now. Okay, well, my mouse wall's broken, so bear with me. Oh, we did it in one. Perfect. Okay, so we want to go for Berserker. Big damage increase with 15% more damage. Yeah, you do take 5% increased damage taken, but it won't really matter. Your build is quite tanky for Flicker Strike. You also have Rage Generation now. 2% of attack damage leeches life if you've killed recently, and you can't be stunned while you have 25 Rage. So you will gather Rage very, very quickly, and you will have Berserk up for most bosses. You just wait till you got like 10 Rage, and you can pop Berserk, and you'll probably kill them in that short amount of time. Raider for suppression move speed. Onslaught whilst at full frenzy. Because we have Pharaohs, we have Onslaught up pretty much most of the time. Phasing's great, and also a chance to gain Frenzy Charge when you hit a rare or unique, which helps sustain your Frenzy Charges as well. And of course, we have the Slayer on the Flame and Flesh for Culling Strike, and Life Leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. This is obviously really good for Flicker, because Flicker usually dies very quickly to degens, but this will make you tick down a lot slower. So basically, you pretty much won't die unless you're trying to AFK and tank. Out-tank a degen. But yeah, that's about it for the tree. I'll move on to the gems now, and we'll call it done. Okay, guys, so as for our gem link, starting out with the chest, we're going with Divergent Vaal Flicker Strike to start with. Vaal Flicker Strike is a really good bossing skill, to be honest with you. If you're doing something like a Conqueror, where you'll be able to run in and have it up, and you Vaal Flicker them with totems up, you will pretty much, most of the time, just one-hit a Conqueror, because it just does so much damage in one instance. Linked to this, I have Divergent Multi-Strike. This could obviously be linked, this could obviously be Awaken Multi-Strike, which would actually be a DPS increase, but I don't really want to buy it. Close Combat, again, is always good, because support skills deal 39% more melee damage to enemies based on proximity, and because you are always in their face, you are always dealing 39%. Yeah, it's a really big buff. Awaken Void Manipulation is obviously really powerful as well, because we only deal chaos damage, so we have 40% more chaos damage from this. Then we have increased critical damage for Giga Multi, and increased crit strikes for Giga Crit Chance, although this one is a little bit bricked. But yeah, not too expensive on the gems, honestly. Divergent Vaal Flicker Strike is like 60C, so yeah, that's pretty good. And definitely get the Vaal. It might seem like a meme, but it is very, very strong, actually. Next up, we'll go to the helmet. This is my aura setup. I'm running Determination, Purity of Elements, Precision 21, which we will need because accuracy is a little bit of an issue, but not too much of an issue. And Enlighten level 3. Don't need level 4. Level 3 is going to be enough as long as you have the non-channeling times 3 crafts, and that'll give you with about 52 mana. This is at level 99 for me, by the way. So yeah, 52 mana for that. Next up, in the shield. So this is the reason you want +2 level of socketed support gems. It's because we use Enhance with Anomalous Withering Step. So we're getting 40% quality to Anomalous Withering Step. And Anomalous gives us Inflict 2 Withered debuffs for the first time each enemy enters the area. So Withered really makes... I need to change this, sorry. Withered really makes a big difference in terms of damage because each stack increases the chaos damage taken, going up to 15. So when you link this up to an enhanced level 4 with the +2 support gems, you will inflict 12 Withered instantly. So basically what you want to do is just make sure you have Withered on. So this little aura here is the Withered zone. So as soon as you walk into an enemy, they're going to get Withered with 12 stacks, and it's going to be a huge DPS increase. Withered will end if you use any skill, as you can see. So you want to make sure you put your totems up first, and then you activate the Withered and walk around. And it will, you can hold it down whilst flicker striking, and it will proc whilst you're flicker striking as well to keep Withered on the enemy. So yeah. As well as that, we have less duration, obviously, as I explained earlier, for the aspect of the cat switcheroo very quickly. So yeah, that's about it for the shield. Moving on, we have a totem setup. It's pretty much just a generic totem setup. We have Ancestral Protector, multiple totem support, and Vaal Ancestral Warchief. This could be Phantasmal if you wanted more DPS. Withering Touch is obviously great because the totems can inflict Withered, so you just put them on bosses and get some Withered like that as well to take you up to 15, as the Withering stat will only take you up to 12. So yeah, that caps you out at 15. Coming up next, we will have a Berserk just on its own. I mean, you could really link it to an Enhance if you had the socket spare, but it's not really needed. Just used, again, for mapping survivability in certain situations. Like if you do an expedition, you'll pop Berserk. Or just for Giga Boss DPS boost, or move speed around a map in general. It's just really good. Just really good to have. Next up, Faster Attack, Sleep Slam, and Blood Rage. Those are obviously just staples in pretty much any attack build as well. And finally, I have Life Tap, Assassin's Mark, and Mark on Hit. If you don't have Life Tap with Assassin's Mark and Mark on Hit, you won't be able to proc it at all, so make sure you have that set up exactly as it is. Yeah, that's just about it for the setup. Obviously, I mean, yeah, well, that's about it. I'm just rambling. So yeah, as it comes to Pantheons, you can pretty much use whatever you want. I'm using Soul of Lunaris. I don't have anything captured. Doesn't really affect me at all. And Soul of Tukahama for additional physical damage reduction. When you are flicker striking, you are classed as stationary for whatever reason. So you do actually get the benefits of getting 9% physical damage reduction with Tukahama. And Lunaris is also great. But you could use any of these if you see fit. Except you don't really need Brine King since we are freeze immune. And we can't be stunned if we have 25 rage anyway. So yeah, it's pretty easy. Aracali is also very good. As for the bandits, kill all, always kill all. You need so many points in this build. Like, I could do with another 10 points and make this build super, super strong if I had the ability to do that. Alas, I do not. But yeah, that's just about it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord and ask me there, or you can ask me on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheBritishExile. So yeah, that's just about it. Take care. I hope you all have a good one, and I will catch you next time. Peace. Before I go, big shout out to my King Patreon supporters, Ascend, Multi-K, Nifty, Isaiah, Pandoxy, Gavin, and Stu. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the support. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.